Welcome, my beautiful friends, to our One Who Wakes dialogue. No like applause, no nothing tonight. Yeah, there we go. Woohoo! You guys started the silence really early. That's great. We're going to talk tonight about stillness and silence. It is the holy ground of peace. The call of each of our hearts is for peace. It is for God. And we have such conflict in our beings because we have such conflict in our minds. We haven't learned how to stop our thought, and that's the source of all our conflict, is our thought. But when you learn to stop that thought, or even when there is thought, you can learn to rest in the stillness. You will find peace. And when you can rest in that stillness, no matter what seems to be going on outside of your being or within, you'll experience the peace that passes all understanding. We have a lot of new people here tonight. A couple of rules about these dialogues. There are no rules. You are absolutely free. I may say things tonight that you don't agree with. That's fine. I'm not by any means trying to say that what I have to say is the only truth there is. I'm speaking to you from the truth of Christ. But if you just imagine God as a house, you can come through the Christ door, you can come through the Buddha window, you can come down the crystal chimney. It doesn't matter how you get to God, so long as you're there. And once you're there, we do have a uniform experience. We may describe it differently, because we're trying to describe something that has no definition, no words. So if you hear something tonight that works, feel free to use it. If it doesn't, throw it out. There's no rule that, my path towards awakening, it has to be yours. If I give you something tonight that was helpful for me and you can use it as a tool, great, then use it. If not, and you got one that works better for you, then use that. Oftentimes we run around the world and we pick up this book and we're like, oh my God, it's got to look like this. Or we go to some seminar and some guy says, this is how it is, and we're like, oh, it's got to look like that. Well, Christ right now looks like every one of you in this room. Come to your own experience. Trust your own inner guide. That's the only way I got home, was I found Jesus and I listened to him and he took me all the way home. And each of you have that same guide within, whether you call it Jesus or the Holy Spirit or your higher self or your Antaryaman or your Aunt Sue or whoever. The name doesn't matter. There's divinity within you already, right here and right now, even if you think it's not, and it will take you home. So we're going to get started tonight with some music. We always do some great music. And we're going to start with Aaron Shust. Is that how you pronounce that? S-H-U-S-T, Shust? Stillness, Speak to Me.
Stillness of my heart, so speak to me and show me who you are. Rescue me with your unfailing love and mercy. Speak to me and show me who you are. Hold me tightly in your arms and never let me go. The stillness of my heart, your grace is given me again. Now I open up my heart, so speak to me and show me who you are. Rescue me with your unfailing love and mercy. Speak to me and show me who you are. Hold me tightly in your arms and never let me go. I remember singing praises to your name every day with all my might. How I long to sing to you again. Speak to me and show me who you are. Rescue me with your unfailing love and mercy. Speak to me and show me who you are. Hold me tightly in your arms and never let me go. Speak to me and show me who you are. Rescue me with your unfailing love and mercy. Speak to me and show me who you are. Hold me tightly in your arms and never let me go. Hold me tightly in your arms and never let me go.
Everything that I came to know and experience about truth came out of the silence. Everything I thought I knew about myself as a body, mind, and about the world had come out of the noise of my thoughts. It wasn't until I found the silence and allowed the silence to start speaking to me, in words in my case. It may not be words for everyone. Sometimes it's just feeling, sometimes it's just a knowing. Truth was revealed to me. But as I was approaching the light, so to speak, I came across this vast area of darkness. My egoic consciousness found the silence and the stillness, and it said this, it felt like this vast ocean of darkness. You may have heard it called the abyss or the void. That's how we name it on the egoic side of the bridge, because it seems like there's nothing there. And of course the ego fears it, because the ego only exists in the rising and falling and the chattering of your mind. In the stillness, where the thought of I doesn't even arise, there is no ego. It's only peace there. But there's a beautiful song, you guys will know this one, the age of this group, Simon and Garfunkel, The Sound of Silence. So this is kind of sung from an egoic point of view as we're starting to move into that darkness. But we're called to it. We know there's something there. Our heart is so resonant with that peace and the stillness that we keep coming back to it, and we keep coming back to it. And Simon and Garfunkel had a beautiful tune about this.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again. Because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping. And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my collar to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs that voices never share. No one dared disturb the sound of silence. Fool, said I, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops, fell and echoed the wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to a neon god they made. And the sign flashed out its warning in the words that it was forming. And the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls, the tenement halls, whispered sounds of silence.
It matters not what path you're on, whether it's one that's A Course in Miracles, which was a big part of my path, or whether it's anything else. Every path is going to end in silence. That is the holy ground of peace. Jesus asked us an important question in the text of A Course in Miracles. Can you imagine what it means to have no cares, no worries, no anxieties, but merely to be perfectly calm and quiet all the time? It's my wish, as Christ, from Christ, to Christ, that you touch that tonight and that you experience that peace and that stillness that is unshakable and unchangeable. In the Course in Miracles, Jesus talks about this a ton because, of course, it's the destination. Over 250 mentions in A Course in Miracles to silence, stillness, and quiet. I've got this, by the way, all those quotes out of the Course. If anyone wants it, you're welcome to take it home with you. But the most important one, really, that Jesus tells us in the Course is this one.
The memory of God comes to the quiet mind. It cannot come where there is conflict, for a mind at war against itself remembers not eternal gentleness.
Some very important things there. The memory of God. You don't need to discover God. You don't need to figure God out. That's already within you. The memory of it already exists. All you have to do is let it arise into your awareness again. And it comes to the quiet mind because it is the stillness. It is the silence. That's what the truth of our nature is. And our egos go, what? That doesn't make any sense. Because our egos, all we are is movement and noise and chatter. We don't know of peace in that noise and chatter in our mind. So we have to find a way to quiet our mind. That's why meditation is so prevalent on so many spiritual paths. We're going to do a little bit of that here tonight, but I'm going to introduce you to the simplest method of meditation there is. It takes no practice and uses skills that you already have. The first time I started meditating, I went to a Vipassana retreat which is a particular type of meditation that supposedly the Buddha had used centuries ago, even before Christ. And it's about learning to still your mind by focusing on the sensations in your body, the very increasingly subtle sensations in your body. And this was a 10-day, no talking retreat. Man, I walked in the door of that place. I was sure I'd be able to do this. My ego went nuts, man. I mean, my mind would not shut up for anything. I mean, it went crazy. I mean, it was like an animal caged in a corner. Just, I couldn't still my mind for nothing. And by the third day, I was exhausted at the effort. And finally, I just gave up in desperation. And all of a sudden, it started to work. All of a sudden, the silence started to appear, and I was able to pick up on the technique. And it was like it'd been right there the whole time. But I was too busy focused on trying to get my mind to stop rather than focusing on the other part. And we're going to try a little bit of that tonight. So the first thing we're going to do, if you would, in however way you do it, we're just going to be in silence for a moment, and you do your own thing. Whatever works for you or whatever you think works for you to get to silence and stillness, I'll hold the space for us, and we'll just see how it goes for a minute. Peace. So we kind of tried it our way. I'm going to share with you a little bit of the guidance that Jesus put in A Course in Miracles, and then I'll share with you specifically how He taught me to listen to the silence. Not through effort, but through allowance. By showing me that I didn't need to develop any new skills, that I already had the skills. I just needed to learn to deploy them in a little bit different way than what I had been accustomed to. But Cindy, will you tell us about silence, please?
Silence. Listen in deep silence. Be very still and open your mind. Go past all the raucous shrieks and sick imaginings that cover your real thoughts and obscure your eternal link with God. Sink deep into the peace that waits for you beyond the frantic, riotous thoughts and sights and sounds of this insane world. You do not live here. We are trying to reach your real home. We are trying to reach the place where you are truly welcome. We are trying to reach God.
God's already in your mind. You wouldn't even have a mind if God wasn't there. God is the source of mind. You could say God is the one monstrously great mind in which we all seem to be appearing as separate parts. But there's some beautiful things in here. And isn't that a beautiful picture of this innocence of this child? Just shh. It's not asking us to stop thinking. We can. Each of you have the ability to stop talking. You're doing a great job of it right now. You also have that same power to stop thought. You just don't know that you do because you've never tried. You've never been trained to. You thought all you needed to do was close your mouth. But that can be hard to do when we don't know how. But Jesus is saying, we're just going to sink below those thoughts. We don't have to try and stop the thoughts. We're not asked to judge the thoughts. We're just asked to allow your mind to be still and sink below them. Those thoughts will arise and do everything they can to get your attention to come back up and play with the thoughts. But it's about sinking below them. Sinking below them. And now each of you already know how to do this. And I'm going to cover this in a couple of ways. How many musicians are in the room? Anyone? So if you're a musician, you have an ear that's tuned to music. If you went to a concert, you could very easily move your awareness from the clarinet as a highlight, and then you could move it over to the trumpet as a highlight. The other sounds you would still hear, but you would really be focused on one instrument. You can pick out an instrument out of the orchestra. That doesn't mean the other ones disappear, but you can really focus in. And you're not like sitting in your chair going, you're not bearing down on it, you're not trying hard, and you didn't need to go to some class to learn how to do it. You just have an ear for it. You just know how to do it. How many mothers are in the room? 100 crying babies, and you could hear one voice. You could hear that of your child. You could hear it across a crowded room. You could hear it across a dog barking at home. You knew that sound. You were tuned to that sound. You knew it. Same thing with a dog barking. I know there are a lot of dog lovers in this room, and you guys know your dog talks to you with different barks, and is saying different things. I want to eat or I want to go outside. And how many of you have been in a restaurant and eavesdropped? Every one of us have done it. In a loud restaurant, can you not listen into one conversation? And everything else just kind of fades away. It's not that it stops, but it just fades away. And you can listen to one conversation. And the classic, when we watch TV. How many of you have been so focused on TV, or someone else has, and you come in and you say their name and they don't hear a thing? So you already have the ability to selectively listen. You've just never applied that to quiet. And that's all we're going to do, is use a skill that you already have to learn to tune that to the silence. There can be thoughts, there can be airplanes flying by, there can be things. I remember when I was in this Vipassana thing, after it was over, half of the people were complaining that they couldn't meditate because there was an airport close by. Well, like Jesus said in that quote, if you want to be peaceful all the time, you're going to have to learn to be peaceful when there's noise around. This isn't about segregating the body in a very quiet space to artificially create silence. And that's what it is. It can be a helpful technique, but I know a lot of people that are like, they're like statues. They're incredibly peaceful when it's quiet, but as soon as the dog starts barking, they lose their shit. They get really angry. So all we're going to do is use a technique that you already know how to do. You already know how to let some things drop away and put your attention on one thing. You already know how to do it. This is going to be the simplest meditation you've ever done. And you don't need to look for the silence. Be still, and I'm going to bring the silence to you. It's going to arise in your awareness. If there's thoughts, big deal. If you got a scratch, scratch it. This isn't about, efforting. It's just about really doing nothing. But once that silence and stillness and quiet comes, you'll then know what it is, and you'll be more ready to tune yourself to it. And that's really all we're doing, is like there's this big radio dial, and you're just going to tune it to a station that is on the dial, but you've never really listened to. Because before, you would have got there and said, oh, there's nothing there. And you would have gone on to a conversation or to the dog barking or to something else. But there has to be quiet. There has to be quiet for there to be any sound. Understand that quiet has to precede any sound. If there weren't quiet, sound couldn't even arise. So whenever there's sound, guess what? There's always quiet. But our egoic consciousness is calibrated to noise, so we only hear the noise. The Christ in you, that part that's going to remember God in your mind, already knows all this. I'm telling you, you don't have anything new to learn if you're willing to at least believe in the least littlest willingness that it's already within you and you already have it. Will you allow it to rise in your awareness as a gift to yourself? So don't move your awareness. Don't go searching. Because if you're searching, you're actually using the stillness to go searching for something, and you'll never find it. So this time, just be still and don't do anything, and let the quiet come to you. How many of you had a different experience that time than the first time? Meditation, that's really meditative, but finding the silence doesn't need to be any harder than that. It doesn't need to be any harder. You can practice while you sit quietly like this, but you'll come to be able to do that when you're driving, when you're grocery shopping, when you're doing anything else. You can very easily and simply move your awareness to the stillness. And you don't have to go searching for it. Effectively, just from deep within your being, have that desire, and the silence will find you. And if there's silence, of course there's silence. If there's sound, within or without, there has to be silence, or there couldn't even be any sound. So it's learning to find the silence within the sound. What's all-encompassing has no opposite. The silence encompasses it all. And it's your very birthright. The more you're willing to do it, the more it will come and the more it will come, and you rest in it. And I know you felt peace there. That's what each of you want. I don't think you'd be in this room if you weren't looking for peace. But I'll give you one more little tip you can use. If you're struggling with that one about kind of falling deep underneath, is just imagine a feather and let it go. And just follow it with your mind as it just so softly and gently falls. And just stay with the feather. And it's never going to hit the bottom. There's nowhere where it's going to land. But just let it fall and just follow it. Just let your attention be on the feather and let it draw you under all those thoughts. Let it drop you deep into your infinite mind. Because your mind is infinite. You won't hit a wall. You won't hit a bottom. Just follow the feather. I was at a meditation that my friend Mary did, a little event Wednesday night. And when our ego starts to touch this place of stillness and touch this place of silence and touch this void of no thoughtness, the ego immediately goes, well, shit, how will anything get done? I'll be like a vegetable. I won't be able to think. We think we have to think to do things. That's not true. But the ego thinks, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this because I'll just be like a vegetable or something. I won't be able to take care of myself. I won't be able to remember things. Well, Jesus addresses that in this beautiful lesson 49 out of A Course in Miracles, that God's voice speaks to me all throughout the day. And God's voice is the stillness. It is the silence. It is the ground of being. And it speaks to you all throughout the day, but we don't hear it because we're tuned into all the chatter and all the sound. But the peace that encompasses everything, the silence, is always there. You just have to be willing to listen. And you don't need any cockamamie great techniques. You already got what it takes. Cindy?
God's voice speaks to me all through the day. It is quite possible to listen to God's voice all through the day without interrupting your regular activities in any way. The part of your mind in which truth abides is in constant communication with God, whether you are aware of it or not. It is the other part of your mind that functions in the world and obeys the world's laws. It is in this part that is constant distraction, disorganized, and highly uncertain.
Hold on a second. Who's familiar with that part of the mind? Well, then let's all just agree that we've mastered that part. We know it all really, really well. We don't need to know it anymore. We don't need to organize the disorganized. We don't need to fix the ego. We don't need to still that chatterbox of a voice. Because that's not what we really are anyway. That's not what's true about our being. That's not true about our mind. But if you want God, constant communication, even right now in your unawareness of it, it's right there. Now. There's an invitation to come to the silence and find that now. Not 10 years from now when you've mastered the theology of A Course in Miracles, or not after you've gotten your kids off to college and then you're ready to like be a swami or something. Right now. You wouldn't even exist if you weren't in constant communication with the Creator, with the Source. The kingdom of heaven is within, and it's right now. But you've just tuned, we all did, anyone who's here is tuned to this chatterbox of a voice that's not real. This is simply an invitation to remind you God is with you right now, in the silence and in the stillness of your mind. And it doesn't take long to redirect your mind, to listen to it. It takes a little bit of practice, a little bit of willingness. Because the silence is there. It doesn't need to get any louder. My beautiful friend Ted recently found out how deafening the silence can be. Absolutely deafening. And that's really ironic, but I know exactly what he's describing when he says that. The silence is deafening. Cindy?
The part that is listening to the voice of God is calm, always at rest, and wholly certain. It is really the only part there is. The other part is a wild illusion, frantic and distraught, but without reality of any kind. Try today not to listen to it. Try to identify with the part of your mind where stillness and peace reign forever. Try to hear God's voice call to you lovingly, reminding you that your Creator has not forgotten His Son.
And you have a choice of which of those two you're going to identify with. Are you going to continue to choose to identify with the one, the chattering, frantic, illusionary part, desperately trying to make it real? Or will you just maybe consider, I don't have to fix it. I don't have to change it. I don't have to improve it. I don't have to do anything to it. I can just shift my identification to this stillness and this silence. The more you practice what we just did, the more you're willing, the more you'll see. Because the ego will look at the silence first. I know when I first started approaching it and found it, or it found me rather, I was like, this is boring as hell. This is what it's all about? This is crazy. I mean, the ego is trying anything under the sun to get me to move away from it. Because the ego knows when you start to put your attention and your awareness there, it doesn't live in that peace and silence. Only truth lives there. Only your connection with God lives there. Uncertainty, doubt, fear, time, they don't live in the silence. I mean, silence isn't old silence and new silence. It's got nothing to do with time. It just is. The silence won't be any silenter next week, and it wasn't very, very whispery silent a long time ago. It's full bore. It's all silence. It's all peace. Now. But you have a choice. You can start choosing that identification with the stillness and the silence. And the more you do that, and you'll forget, but that's no problem. You just choose again. Every time you become aware, you move your attention back to the conversation with God. Just like in the restaurant. You could move it to one conversation and then you could move it to another one, paying attention. when you find yourself listening to the frantic, egoic, fear-based voice, don't condemn yourself, which is what the ego will want to do. Rather, rejoice that you're aware, oh, I was listening to the wrong voice. I have a choice, so let me just go listen to the silence. Rejoice in the awareness. Don't judge yourself for it. It's only the ego that would be judging anyway. That's the part you don't want to listen to. Just move to the silence. And little by little, identification by identification, that will grow. Truth will start to become into your awareness. And it won't be a truth that's like you don't know. I mean, revelation is really about remembering. I mean, if you're asleep, and that's the whole metaphor of this dream world, is that we're asleep, well, you had to know who you were when you were awake. You wake back up to that. Stop trying to make the dream into reality. But at some point, there'll be an experiential shift where your identity will become so firmly established in truth that it can never, ever move away. You will become the silence, not which identifies with it. You will become it. You will remember that that's your reality. And then, of course, you will be in the peace that passes all understanding. And you'll be in what Jesus calls in the Course the choiceless choice. Because you'll be in truth and you would never make a choice to not be again. No one wakes up, experiences enlightenment and says, oh, you know what? This freedom sucks. I want to go back to being helpless. I want to go back to being a victim. I want to go back to suffering. I want to go back in time. It doesn't happen. It's impossible. Once you've realized the impossible never really happened, you won't try it out a second time. So how about one more little dose? Remember, you're not doing anything. You either follow the feather, if that helps you drop deeper, but just do nothing. The silence isn't doing anything either. If you do nothing, you'll find the silence. If your mind moves around, let it move around. Don't try and hold it. Because the silence is there, letting it move around, isn't it? The silence isn't stopping the mind from judging or doing anything else. It's just allowing it. Can you rest in that silence that's allowing all of that to happen? And it really is rest. So here we go. peace. I can feel it. I know you're feeling it. It's simple. It's no more complicated than what you just experienced. There's no big trick to learn. You don't have to hold your fingers right. You don't have to sit in some really uncomfortable position. Just be comfortable. Don't give your mind more to complain about. It's just more that you got to fall below. So be comfortable. It's easier to do with your eyes closed, but learn to do it with your eyes open. When you're washing the dishes, just allow your mind to tune in. You'll find that the body can still move around, because we're not trying to experience a peace that you just go sit in a corner to experience. We're trying to give you the peace that you're in the drive-thru and you're at peace. You're at the ball game and you're at peace. You're having an argument and you're at peace. That one's going to be a bit of a stretch, but you can witness an argument happening within your being or within others and be at peace. So for those of you who are primarily tuned to sound, we looked at quiet and silence. But for those of you who tend to be a little more body-oriented, we're going to approach the same thing through stillness. They're all really the same thing. Quiet, stillness, silence, they're all really describing the same thing. But we're going to use a different way to look at, to try and get there. If that technique doesn't work for you, well, I got another one.
Stillness. Let this day be a day of stillness and of quiet listening. Your Father wills you hear His word today. He calls to you from the deep within your mind where He abides. Hear Him today. No peace is possible until His word is heard around the world, until your mind in quiet listening accepts the message that the world must hear to usher in the quiet time of peace. In stillness, we hear God's voice today, without intrusion of our petty thoughts, without our personal desires, and without all judgment of His holy word. We will not judge ourselves today, for what we are cannot be judged. We stand apart from all the judgments which the world has laid upon the Son of God. It knows Him not. Today we will not listen to the world, but wait in silence for the word of God.
When we're thinking, it's really talking in our mind. And you can either talk or you can listen. If you're talking, if you're thinking, you're not going to hear God's voice. You're not going to hear the silence speak to you. So that's the way the ego uses thought to keep you from hearing the voice of God. And I don't know, I was a thought addict. Anyone else in here have that addiction? Of course. So that's really what thought is. It's talking in the mind. So the mind can't hear. But as you experienced just a moment ago, even though the mind may be talking, you can drop below it. But we're going to use stillness. Does that look familiar? We're going to use the image of this projector screen to represent stillness. We're going to watch a little video. when the fireplace was up there, burning away? Did the screen get hot? Was the screen burned in any way? How about when Niagara Falls was roaring over all that water? Was the screen affected? So the screen is a metaphor. It's a symbol to represent the stillness which is always present. The stillness didn't reject the image of the landfill. It welcomed it just as it welcomed the little smiling face of the child. There were things that were still and there were things that were moving. But the screen, the mind of God, was unaffected by any images that were on that screen. Any dream, if you will, doesn't affect the screen. You could have a nuclear bomb explosion on that screen. The screen isn't affected at all. The stillness, like the quiet, always is. Everything that appears to be, bodies, cosmos, everything else, arise out of the stillness and return to the stillness. If you imagine a glass jar full of water and sand, if it's agitated, it's cloudy, right? The sand is... But as soon as the agitation stops, what happens? It all settles to stillness. Stillness is your natural state. Stillness is the natural state of Christ. But again, our egoic consciousness is always focused on the images that appear on this screen, the things that are moving. We rarely notice the stillness which is ever present. And that stillness allows all things. I mean, the screen didn't protest at the ugly stuff and only want the pretty stuff. It was just as still and gave itself fully to any image that came. Just as the Father gave the Son the inheritance and said, go create whatever you will. And we created this dream and the cosmos in a dream. Our truth, our screenness, if you will, our stillness, has never been affected in any way whatsoever. No way whatsoever. You can't get away from it. It's everywhere. But again, we're not tuned into it. So we used silence and sound for those of you who are kind of that way. We're going to use more of a feeling sense this time. Not so much about thought, not so much about watching your mind. The stillness is going to be about feeling. How many of you have taken a walk after a really deep snow? It's pretty still, isn't it? That stillness is ever present in everything. No thing could be if that stillness didn't pre-exist it, if there wasn't stillness for it to arise out of. And just as you moved your kind of hearing to the silent channel, you can move your feelingness to the stillness and away from all the things that's moving, all the images on the screen. So it's about finding the stillness in the movement. So on that top row, we've got beautifully still water and we've got moving water. Just because the water appears to be moving doesn't mean it's lost its stillness. What will happen immediately when the agitation goes away? It immediately will come back to stillness. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust, whatever you want to, everything that arises will fall back to stillness. But we get so calibrated in our egoic consciousness to the movement. All of our ego mind is about movement. It's like a dog, squirrel. You know, the dog's right here and whoosh, something flashes by, boom! And how many of you, your mind has done that? You know, you're like one way and the kids run in the house in dirty shoes and whoa! That's just what the ego is, and that's how it keeps us chasing, moving with movement. And we're always exhausted. We're never at rest. But similarly, you can move your feelingness into the stillness that's always there. Always there, that allows everything. It's waiting there. It's so ever present. It's so spread over the face of the earth, yet we see it not. But it's always very quietly inviting us, if we'll stop moving, to simply fall back into our natural state. So we're going to do this again. And this time it's not about so much thought. If thought's going on, don't worry about it. But this time, use more of your being to feel. And again, I'll hold the space. Just allow it to feel the stillness. Sometimes if you're breathing, between the in-breath, where that pause is before the out-breath stops, catch that stillness. Catch it there and feel it. And then see if you can stay with that even though the movement of the breath goes on. Or if you can get still enough that you can feel or hear your heart beating. Feel the stillness that's allowing that movement to take place. Peace. Now, was that really, really hard for anybody? It's your own nature. What God creates is perfect. Does silence and stillness need any enhancement to be any more perfect? Isn't that the ground of the peace that passes all understanding? Back to this quote that I read earlier, if I can find it. Can you imagine what it means to have no cares, no worries, no anxieties, but merely can be in perfect calm and quiet all the time? Imagine what your life could be like if you could walk around in every moment and in every action coming from that quiet, that peace, and that stillness. That's some really effective use of your mind training if you're a Course in Miracles student. Become a walking meditation. When I first got this, the feeling thing, when I would be moving around, I would be trying to feel the space, the stillness that the body was moving through. I wasn't following what the body was doing. I was feeling the space that the body was moving through. And my identity began to shift from all the movement of the mind and all the movement of the body to the quietness and to the stillness. And I began to remember that that was the very peace of my being. And of course, as you start to get a taste of that, you're like, oh, I want more, I want more, I want more of God, I want more peace. And your mind your being will very naturally continue to move back there. It may take some practice for a while, but this is not hard practice, is it? I mean, we didn't have to have a weekend retreat and it didn't cost you a bunch of money to figure out or know or to experience what your very nature is. It's your birthright. But the ego's going to arise and it's going to tell you you're either doing it wrong or you're not doing it frequently enough or whatever. And Jesus, of course, knows that that's what our mind's going to do. So he gives us just a gentle reminder. Cindy?
The stillness of the peace of God is mine. Perhaps we are now ready for a day of undisturbed tranquility. If this is not yet feasible, we are content and even more than satisfied to learn how such a day can be achieved. If we give way to a disturbance, let us learn how to dismiss it and return to peace. We need but tell our minds with certainty, the stillness of the peace of God is mine, and nothing can intrude upon the peace that God Himself has given to His Son. Father, your peace is mine. What need have I to fear that anything can rob me of what you would have me keep? I cannot lose your gifts to me, and so the peace you gave your Son is with me still, in quietness and in my own eternal love for you.
So we can rejoice that we can never lose the quiet and the stillness. We may not be aware of it all the time, but that's okay. It didn't leave us. It can't leave us because it's what we are. It's what we were given as our eternal peace. Hey, Pam. Good to see you. And I've just shown you two doorways. You may have one that works for you already. Great, use it. I've just given you two ways that maybe you weren't aware of. If they work for you, use them. If you find another way, great, please come tell me. I might be able to use that too. But Christ, we rest in that space as one, because in the stillness and in the quiet, is there another? Do each of you have your own private collection of quiet and stillness? Or is that what we share as one? It's our private thoughts that we run around thinking are our own that create the many. But quiet is one. Stillness is absolute, without another, and in reality, no opposite. Because if you're resting in the quiet, you're not separate from God until your mind says, I am something other than this stillness and this quiet. When Moses got the 10 Commandments, one of them was, I will not use the Lord's name in vain. And we were all taught, don't say, God damn it. Or Jesus H. Christ, blah, 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 blah. That's not at all what the message was. You are the Lord. We are the Lord as one. We are that I am presence that's just the stillness and the quiet. When we say, I am John Mark, I am a body, I'm a businessman, I'm a father, I'm using my own Lord's name in vain because I'm identifying with the illusionary body-mind rather than the one self that is I am. Because when you're in the stillness, you're still present. But you're not present as your story. You're not present as everything that comes after I am. You're just there as I am and there is no other. You can't even find God in this quiet because there's no other. The Father and the Son are one there. Rest there. Rest there. And you'll only find it right here, right now. The I am door is right now. You each had a little awakening to it if you touched it at all tonight. It's not in the future. That's a trick of everything that comes after the I am. So don't use our one Lord, our one Christ name in vain by all the junk our mind tells us. We are one in that stillness and in that peace. And it's okay if you've said, God damn it. The stillness doesn't care. The silence didn't say, oh, you can't say that and stop you. Because none of the illusion matters. None of the movement matters. It comes and it goes. The silence and the stillness as always is. What did the cosmos arise out of? Nothing. Perfect stillness. Our egoic mind fears like crazy. I'm nothing. And I say, yes, you're nothing. And it is glorious. And it is rich. And it is beautiful. Because out of that nothing represents our infinite nature as Christ. We can dream and are dreaming an infinite number of experiences out of our stillness and our silence. But our truth is unchangeable and unchanging forever. So we can have a wonderfully happy dream. And whether you have a happy one or a sad one, it doesn't matter. No one is going to judge you at the end. The silence is going to say, oh, your dream was too whatever. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. There's no other to judge you in the silence and in the stillness. So when you're there, you may not realize it now. Your mind may not be willing to accept, but part of the truth that will arise is, oh my God, I exist as nothing. And everything and everyone that seems to be arises out of my own one beingness, out of my own Christedness. It's glorious. The very nature of you is bliss. And it's that peace and that silence. It's the thing your mind will say, don't go there, don't go there, don't go there. It's boring. It's just the source of everything. And you can identify as one tiny little body mind on one tiny little world, in one tiny little cosmos, one tiny expression of a tiny mad idea, or you're free to identify with the source of all that is and all that could ever be. So rest in the silence and in the stillness. I've shown you it's not apart from you. It's right here, it's right now. Practice, play, have fun with it. And we got some great music to close with. This is a wonderful musician, John Aston, and he's going to sing to us about stillness.
Let your breath be quiet and your thoughts be still, and in the depths of your silence, listen to the truth. Let your breath be quiet and your thoughts be still, and in the depths of your silence, listen to the truth, and breathe in love and light. Breathe out love to all the world. Breathe in love and light. Breathe out love to all the world. To the world. Let your breath be quiet and your thoughts be still, and in the depths of your silence, listen to the truth, and breathe in love and light. Breathe out love to all the world. Breathe in love and light. Breathe out love to all the world. To the world. And in the depths of your silence, listen to the truth. Breathe in love and light. Breathe out love to all the world. Breathe in love and light. Breathe out love to all the world. Breathe in love and light. Breathe out love to all the world. Breathe in love and light. Breathe out love to all the world. Breathe in love and light. Breathe out love to all the world. Breathe in love and light. Breathe out love to all the world.
So you might get just a little idea of how Jesus could be on the cross and not suffer. He was so completely identified with truth, with his eternal nature, with his beingness that had nothing to do with his body, that he didn't even experience the discomfort of the body because he rested in peace. He rested in the silence while all of that went on. We all have that choice. I've helped to show you the doorway, the eye of the needle, if you will. You don't have any problems. Your thoughts have a shitload of problems. But it's just your thoughts. And they become yours when you say, I am this body. You've never ran out of those problems, have you? But of course, Jesus reminds us in the body, hallelujah, or in the course, we're not this body. We are spirit. We are free. And that silence and stillness is, and of course it's formless, and it's free, eternally so. Right now, right here, the kingdom is at hand. Oh gosh, it's got to be. Donna Marie Carey.
Beyond my thoughts, beyond my dreams, there is a voice calling. Truth is what it speaks, love is all it sees, breaking down the walls around me, and it echoes in the silence, rolling back the tides, lighting up the night, opening my eyes to love, seeing what is real, how it feels, to know I'm only love, and it echoes in the silence. Beyond the world there is a home where we all live as one. Angels sing a long forgotten song, singing us home. Can you hear them singing us home? Love is revealed, I am healed beyond silence, beyond my thoughts, my dreams, the world I see, and it echoes in the silence.
Please don't take my word for it. Don't let your mind talk you into you have an intellectual understanding. Move into the experience that doesn't even need words, that words can't even describe. Know yourself for yourself. Come into that place and touch the face of God. And you'll know it's your own face. That last God taking the last step business is you realizing, oh shit, it's me. Because God's not outside of you in that silence and in that stillness. There is nothing outside of it. It's all beingness. It's the source of all things. If anyone has any questions tonight, I'll take them very quietly. Anyone? Wow, we've been doing great with these dialogues. We answer all the questions in the dialogue. Isn't that beautiful? Our love offering, there's a basket on the other side of the fireplace. And for those who will be watching on Vimeo later, you can donate at PayPal. I love you with an infinite peace and an infinite love, which is that stillness and silence. I am always with you, as is Jesus, as is God, as is each and every one of you, because we share that one place, that one presence, that one isness together, and we can't ever lose it, and it never goes anywhere. Peace. Good night. Thank you so much for watching. I love for a living, and I live to do nothing but love. If you're so inspired, would you please consider a love offering? If so, go to paypal.com. At the top of the page, click the personal button, and then just below that to the right, the send money button. You put in the amount that you're inspired to give, hit the continue button, put in my email address, which is onewhowakes@gmail.com. That's onewhowakes@gmail.com. Put in your email address, then hit the continue button, put in whatever your form of payment is, and then you're all set. Thank you so much, and may peace be with you.